All right, guys, just checking in here. Got the hole backfield filled, and I got all the concrete here ready to go. I don't know if I'll need 5 bags, but with concrete, it's better to have more at hand than having to run to the store while your concrete is setting. So I'm going to show you guys how to drill in for the dowels for the concrete, to reinforce the concrete over here. And then we will pour the concrete and let it set and sit overnight. Okay, before I put all my mask and ear protection on, I just want to walk you through what I'm going to do. So what you want to do is you're going to drill in to the edges, probably every foot or 16 inches, even down on the end here, boom, and on this side as well. You're going to drill in, I don't know, about 4 or 5 inches. I got a 1/2 inch bit, and that will work perfectly for the 1/2 inch rebar. I'm just going to reuse the rebar that I cut out of here from what you saw earlier. And what you'll do is then you'll drill in and then you'll hammer the rebar in, and then you're going to want to be about halfway into the concrete. So you don't want to be too low, you don't want to be too high, you want to be about halfway. You can see the old rebar, how deep that is in there. It's right here. Okay, so about halfway in the thickness of the concrete, so that it can grab good. So I'll do that now. That is it. I didn't have a big enough piece here to reach all the way over, but that's alright, it should be fine. I used that long piece that you saw earlier in the video that I salvaged from the original concrete, and then just tied everything together so it kind of makes one continuous piece. You just use this rebar tie right here, really cheap stuff, really easy to do. Just twist it on and cut it off so there's nothing sticking out. And yeah, that should be it. I think we're ready for pouring some concrete. Okay, I'm getting ready to do the concrete. I thought I would just talk about a few things before I do that, because I'll probably have it on time lapse, so you'll just get to watch me do this. So what I do is I have a wheelbarrow right here. You want something to mix the concrete in that's watertight. So a wheelbarrow works really good. I have these 80-pound bags, so they're really heavy. I have a kind of a bum wrist, so I'm trying to minimize how much lifting I do. Normally what I would do is I would put a little bit of water in the wheelbarrow first, then add some concrete. With the concrete, when you're self-mixing it like this, I think the biggest mistake people make is they add too much water. So it gets way too soupy, and then you end up having to grab another bag, cut it open, and add in more concrete, keep mixing it until it starts to get thicker and thicker. It just makes it a lot harder than slowly adding the water. You'll probably, I'm guessing if this is your first time doing concrete, you're gonna add too much water, because it's a really common mistake. I probably will do it here too. But you just try to add a little bit at a time, and it's gonna seem really dry, but pretty quickly it will get wet. So don't overdo the water. So I'll mix a bag and then I'll pour it in, and then once I do that, I'll come and I'll use I think probably just like a little hand shovel or something, just to shovel the concrete into place. The first few bags are just going to be right along the bottom, so you don't have to really worry about that. It's once you get closer to the surface level of the floor that you got to be more careful about how high it's getting, and making sure you're not above the level of the floor, and try to get it as smooth as possible. Okay, so here we go. Always wear a mask when you're doing concrete. This stuff is really dusty. Good to go. Okay. You're going to take your utility knife. Cut up the side. There we go. You can see all the dust. So wear a mask. Shut the water off. Take two. Use the water to wet down all the dry spots. It'll help minimize some of the dust too. Well, this is getting wet. I might have added too much water. Let's see. This is really close. It's just a tad bit thick. I'm just going to add a little bit of water. So that little spray of water, you can now see that it's just a little bit more runny, which is what you want. So it'll shape, and it will just barely kind of hold the shape you give it. Okay, let's pour this thing. Oopsie, sorry guys. Hey guys, I was just sitting here resting after mixing all that concrete. If you haven't mixed concrete before, um, be prepared for a good workout. It's tough work. So it's done. As you could see from the video, I had to, I kind of overfilled it just because I had extra concrete. Concrete is cheap. And then you could also see I overwatered that last batch because I washed out my tools in the wheelbarrow. I don't know what I was thinking. So I had to mix in some more. So I kind of knew I'd have extra. That's what I used the board for. On a real concrete job, you're going to use that board to smooth things out and flatten things out to get it nice and level. Like a driveway, for example, or a porch or patio. You can find other videos of that. But for this context of just filling a hole back in the floor, I was just trying to, I have a level surface on the back side, a level surface on the front side here, and so I just spanned the 2x4 across and swept the concrete through and took out all the excess concrete. You can still see I have some over there. So with repairing concrete like this, my preference is to leave it a tad bit lower than the surface of the original floor, because you can always go back in with a self leveler, which is a kind of a very runny concrete that you just set on top, and then it levels itself out because it's very runny, and it will make the surface match up almost perfectly with the other surfaces. So if you go too high, though, you've made yourself kind of a mound of concrete, and if you're going to tile over it or put wood flooring over it, the tile is going to crack or the flooring is not going to sit right. So definitely don't overfill your patch. If anything, like on mine, I'm definitely not over full. If anything, I'm barely under the edges, barely, maybe an eighth of an inch. So that if when it dries, it's a noticeable difference, I will just go put self leveler on it. If it's pretty dang close, I think I might just leave it, and because I'm going to tile over it, and there's a layer of thin set between the tile and the floor, so it should be fine. So yeah, that's it, guys. That's how you do it. I just ran brand new plumbing for the drain for this sink. I've still got to finish adding the rest of the plumbing and attaching it to the vent line up in the wall, but that's how you do it. I know some of you guys probably were wanting to see how to do the actual plumbing, and I know I didn't show that. I kind of got busy in the thick of it yesterday. What's going to happen, I'm actually going to do this same process on my kitchen, because my kitchen sink and laundry room back up. They have roots in the plumbing, so I've got to go repair that. I was quoted between $10,000 and $12,000 for a nationwide company to come by and do it for me, and it was going to take like 2 months. So I'm going to go do that. When I do that job, I will probably try to show you guys more of the process of the plumbing, so that you can get a better idea of how to do that. So yeah, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video or this series, make sure to let me know. I'd appreciate any feedback you guys have. Keep in mind, I'm not a professional concrete guy or plumber or anything. I'm just your average DIY person, and I just try to learn things along the way. So I'm just trying to spread the things I've learned to help anybody else who wants any of that knowledge that I've learned. So don't be too critical. If you have some constructive feedback, feel free to let me know, but I'm not really looking for heavy criticism. I know my work isn't perfect. I'm not a professional. So, all right, guys, until the next one, we'll see you later.